Welcome back, friends. Last guy here. Time for more Great Ace Attorney Chronicles voice LP. If you have no kinfolk, as you put it, then explain why it is that among the sparse furnishings we found this photograph in the room. Eh? Meh? I presume, as you've been renting the room, that this photograph belongs to you, does it not? Oh, well... Mr. Boon, drop the pretense and tell the court exactly who you really are. I don't know what you mean. I'm a peddler. I keep telling you so. You really don't need to bother with me. Please, just leave it alone. As the man says, leave it alone. Whatever the truth is about this man's life, it has no bearing on this case. Yeah, it does. Because it's simply not possible that he impersonated Inspector Gregson.
Objection!
No, it is. How can you be so sure? Just look at the man. No amount of disguise could ever hide those unmissable features.
Objection!
Except those are added. But what if we were to look at this the other way around? What do you mean? Yes, Consul, what do you mean? Well, there's no denying that Mr. Boon's lip is very prominent indeed. But consider the possibility that his prominent lip is itself part of an elaborate disguise. Then hiding that prominent feature, in other words, revealing his true face, would make an utterly impenetrable disguise. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Hugh Boon? Okay, here we go. Good. Witness, are you still hiding the truth from this court? If that's a disguise, then underneath it, his true identity must be... Yes, that's right. There's really only one person he could really be. Here we go. My lord, the defense believes it can reveal Mr. Boon's true identity to the court. No, please, no. Very well then, Consul. What is the true identity of this peddler who goes simply by the name of Gossip on the street? Get the hell over there. He is himself. Wait. There it is. I was like, where is it? Daily Vigil. EV Vigil. So Eve Vigil? Daily Vigil? No. Daily Vigil, yeah, she just had to have a name.
Take that!
Your real name is actually Mr. Vigil, isn't it? Mr. Daily Vigil. Ah! I don't recall that name, Consul. Who is this Mr. Vigil? It's a name I encountered yesterday, my lord. It has to do with a certain client of Mr. Sholmes. Herlock Sholmes. A young gentlewoman came to the detective, asking him to locate her missing husband. The woman in this photograph, in fact, this is Mrs. Vigil. What? From what I understand, you haven't returned home since the night before the inspector was found dead. But of course, on that night, you were being held captive by the two red-headed League men. And last night you were put up by the prosecution service in preparation for testifying in this trial. Because we'd been led to believe that you, Miss Venus, and Mr. Sandwich were all homeless. Being important witnesses in this case, we needed to know where we could find you, of course. And that explains why you've been not only unable to return home, but also unable to contact your wife. Who's been beside herself with worry, waiting for you at the Vigil residence. Now, just you hold on a minute. You got the wrong idea. What I'm talking about, really? You know what you're talking about. I read that super. No, just you hold on a bit. I don't have the first idea. What I'm talking about, really? It's a simple enough matter to confirm my suspicions. All we have to do is pull off that disguise. No, please. Bailiff, bring soap, a sponge, and a wash bowl at once. Mr. Rousseau and Mr. De Rossi, you'll restrain the witness. What? They will? Oui, my lord. Si, my lord. Oh my god, I didn't see that coming. Just having them do it. No, stop. Don't. Wasn't seeing that coming at all. I didn't think you'd have them do it. Alright, they took it off. Well, we are now seeing your truer features, I presume. Oh, dressed up too? Lift your head, sir, so the court can see your face. It would appear that the defense counsel's assertion was entirely correct. This has all been a very elaborate deception. So witnesses, tell the court, have you seen this man before? I don't believe it, but... See, there's no question. This is the inspector we saw in the park. Extraordinary. On the day of the Red-Headed League enrollment. Shouldn't there be two L's there? The man claiming to be Inspector Gregson who appeared before Mr. De Rousseau and Mr. De Rossi in the park was you disguised as the inspector, or rather, was you posing as the inspector in no disguise at all? Huh. Mr. Vigil was formerly employed as the chief warder at Barclay Prison. The chief warder? Then your career had promise. Why, you would quite possibly have become the future governor of the prison. What on earth have you been doing peddling tittle-tattle on Fresno Street? Well, it's been 10 years since Mr. Vigil worked at the prison. 10 years. You're not gonna say a damn thing? Okay. I'm really dreadfully sorry about all this. Yes, it's true. I am Daily Vigil. And you were the chief warder at Barclay Prison 10 years ago. So where did Mr. Hugh Boon come from? Boon is the other me. It's a name I invented. Well, evidently there's a great deal under the surface here. I'll explain everything. I'll tell you just how wretched my life has become. As you say, it was 10 years ago now that my employment as Barclay's chief warder came to an end. Having left the prison service, I searched for some new occupation by which to earn a wage. But times were hard in London, and I found no suitable engagements at all. In desperation one day, I turned my hand at selling wares on Fresno Street. But your wife appears to know nothing of this. She still maintains that you are the chief warder at Barclay Prison. I was utterly determined that my wife should not know of my failings, which is why I've never told her. I opened an account at the bank under the name of Hugh Boon, and I rented the cheapest room I could find on Fresno Street. The scene of the very crime we're investigating. Yes, that's right. A place from which I could emerge every morning at 8 as a squalid peddler, and transform myself back every evening at 5 into the well-dressed man about town before returning home. That quickly became my daily routine. I was puzzled by the lack of furniture in the room, but that explains it. But why on earth didn't you just tell us this in the first place? I have a wife, sir, and 2 sons. And without wishing to sound self-conceited, they regard me with some pride. I couldn't bring myself to disappoint them. So instead, you decided to conceal your occupation from them? Yes. I've made such a terrible mess of everything. Still, one thing doesn't add up. No matter how many tidbits of information you could sell to passing gentlemen, even at 6 pence apiece, you couldn't hope to match the salary you must have commanded as chief warder at the prison. Very true. You have kept your family in comfort, despite 10 years of somewhat misbegotten employment. That was all thanks to Inspector Gregson. What? Inspector Gregson? What on earth? It was some years after I'd invented Boon and begun my other life as a street settler. He, the inspector, that is, recognized me one day. Do you mean to say the victim was an acquaintance of yours? I knew him from my time working at the prison. When he saw what I'd become, he was deeply troubled for me and my family. And from that day forward, he visited me on Fresno Street with increasing regularity. Then one day, he asked me if I would carry out a secret assignment for him. A secret? What was it? I was to impersonate the inspector. What? Impersonate him? We always met in that little room so the inspector could brief me. Visit Orches, horses, whatever that is, tomorrow and take a statement from the proprietress. It was always something along those lines. Surveillance work, interviewing people. On those occasions, he would lend me his identification so people would believe who I was. My instructions were to make an impression, to let people know that Inspector Gregson had been at work. And for those services, he compensated me financially. A Scotland Yard inspector willingly relinquishes identification into your care with intent to deceive? That, as I'm sure I need not to point out, is a very serious criminal offense. But why? What was the point of you impersonating him? I truthfully do not know. All I can say is that the inspector warned me on numerous occasions. Now remember, Virgil, I need your solemn word. You don't blab about this to anyone, alright? Ever. Even if, well, if I end up a croaker. Well, he's telling us anyway. In time, he started to bring papers with him to the room as well. It became something of a second office for him. So, in fact, the person who declared himself to be Inspector Gregson at the park on Lime Street was really... Yes, it was me, acting on the inspector's orders. As usual, I removed my Boon disguise, and then went as instructed to the park, armed with the inspector's identification book. It never occurred to me that the bruise on my neck might give me away. Yeah, if he did, he would have, make-upped it up. Everyone's ... Well, It would seem this confession completely destroys the defense's case. What? What? Explain yourself, Prosecutor Asugi. My learned friend's assertions was as follows. The victim was killed at another location on the day before his corpse was discovered. At the hands of these two red-headed league men when they imprisoned the inspector. Yeah, that's true. Ah, crap. But no, that can't be. After all, it wasn't the inspector who went to the park that day. It was me. Oh, goodness! Finally, we have clarity. We had nothing to do with the matter of the inspector. And merci, Monsieur de la Défense, for proving it. What? Ah! He followed the truth to that point. Yeah, he doesn't think ahead, but he does, uncover crap because of it. Order, order, order! Indeed, it would appear that we have reached a de facto conclusion of sorts. These witnesses had no involvement in the murder of the victim. As proven, somewhat ironically, by the defense. I hereby call an end to the cross-examination. Oh no.
Hold it!
Oh! Who? With the hold it. Everyone's surprised he said hold it? Pardon me, my lord, but with your permission. I would like to pose one further question to the witness. Kazuma? What question, Counsel? It concerns the events of 10 years ago. I believe you would have been present at a very significant execution that was carried out at the time. 10 years ago. The execution of the professor, Genshin Asugi. I want to know exactly what your involvement was. Oh. Answer me, man. One moment, Counsel. Is this related to the current case? Naturally. It is the prosecution's belief that this case and the events of 10 years ago are inextricably linked. Does the defense concur, Counsel? Kazuma! You're not yourself. You're not as calm and collected as usual. Poor Kazuma-sama. No wonder he's acting this way. Mr. Vigil's memories of what happened 10 years ago would tell the tale of Genshin Asugi's last moments, his own father. I know. I don't understand that. But even so... Prosecutor Asugi! Do you genuinely believe that this question requires an answer in order to learn the truth behind Inspector Gregson's death? I need you to trust me. Please. Very well. Then the defense has no objection. I see. In that case, you will answer the question, witness. The truth is, I remember very little of that time. You've forgotten? I'm sorry to say, yes. As I said, I resigned from my role at the prison 10 years ago. But for some peculiar reason, my memory of the events leading up to that moment is extremely hazy. Doesn't that strike you as strange, Mr. Naruhodo? Sorry. Well, 10 years is a long time. But I've forgotten the reason why he left such an important job? Yes, you're right. And not only that, Mr. Vigil's claim contradicts what we already know. The human spirit is a fragile thing. It's broken all too easily. Which is why we have a tendency to wrap it up for protection, Sorry? The human spirit? I'm afraid I don't understand what you mean. When we experience pain and suffering that we feel unable to bear, we block it out, obliterate it from our memories, seal it away. But it never truly leaves us. If the seal is broken, the memories resurface. I don't know why, but I have my sit-down voice. And when they do, that fragile spirit may finally be crushed. But I really don't... Kazuma-san. But if it must be crushed, then so be it. Because the truth will not stay buried. It's coming out one way or another. Right. Now I understand. It's clear what his intentions are. He means to expose the truth, at any cost. Perhaps if I pointed out the contradiction in what Mr. Vigil claimed earlier, it might cause some crucial memories to return to him. But should I? Should I present the evidence or not? Do it! Leave it! I see it. What is he talking about? Dismissal? What is the clause? Aiding, abetting, skipping. Okay, there we go. So yeah, do it! Just do it! Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it! I have no idea how this is going to go. But this is a court of law, and I have a duty to pursue the truth. Mr. Vigil, I'd like you to look at this. Evidence that clearly contradicts your version of events.
Take that!
Just a few moments ago, you made the following statement. I resigned from my role at the prison 10 years ago. Ah, well, yes. In other words, you claim to have left the post of Chief Warder of your own volition. Well, yes, of course. Why? Tell me! Do you remember seeing this document before? No, I don't. This is a dismissal notice ordering the immediate termination of a prison staff member's employment. A dismissal notice? And the name on the notice is yours, Mr. Vigil. What? So he blocked it out. What? No, it's mine? So you didn't resign from the prison service at all? For some reason, you were dismissed as Chief Warder from Barclay. No, there's been some mistake. I'm sure. I'm sure I tendered my resignation. This dismissal notice is nonsense. Isn't it? If you were forcibly dismissed, there must have been good reason. Clearly you did something. Mr. Vigil, it's time to break the seal and have you remember. According to the few remaining records, the final execution that you supervised was on 17th of June, 10 years ago. And on that day, something very serious took place at Barclay Prison. The 17th of June? Was that the professor's execution? Professor? This voice is really working for this. As you were the chief warder at the time, it stands to reason that you would have been present throughout the proceedings. It does sound familiar. And yet, that execution never took place. The convict ostensibly executed earlier that day later re-emerged from his grave. Prison grave, yeah. The convict came back to life. In the cemetery in the middle of the night, there was a witness. However, the witness claims that the moment after he saw the convict clambering out of the grave, A gunshot rang out from over his shoulder. Blam! And the bullet pierced the professor's chest, killing him instantly. Those may have been the professor's actual last moments. Yes. Yes. Seeing as you were in charge of overseeing executions at the time, you must know the truth about what really happened. It is in your head, somewhere deep down. Well, Chief Warder Daily Vigil, I know there are memories in your head that can explain what happened on 17th of June, 10 years ago. And now it's time for you to drag them out. Mr. Vigil? Yes, the whole prison. It was complete chaos. The prisoner escaped. He was killed in the cemetery. The shocking news ripped through Barclay like a hurricane. What? What? Order! 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 Do you mean to say, Mr. Vigil, that your memories of the time have returned? My head, it's like some floodgates have been opened. The images, the screams. Oh, my goodness. The papers. There were reports, articles, about a man who'd seen a ghost. Yes, Enoch Drebber. But surely those reports were exaggerated? There were traces at the scene. Traces of what? In Lowgate Cemetery at plot number 139, blood. Lots of blood. That's where the man was buried, of course. Obviously something terrible had happened there. The depths of conspiracy and depravity from which this tale is emerging are quite staggering. I've reviewed the police records from that time extensively. A thorough investigation was conducted by Scotland Yard to ascertain how the convict managed to escape in the first place. And the conclusion reached by the investigating team was that a member of the prison staff must have been involved. Are you suggesting that a prison warder abetted the man's bid for freedom? Yes, and I was suspected of doing it. Of using that mass murderer's execution as a way to help him escape. You did what? I remember now. The horror of it all is coming back to me. One evening, a few days after the execution, some detectives came to the prison. I was called to the governor's office at the top of the watchtower. I don't remember the voice I gave this freaking guy. I'm sorry, Daly, this is a serious business. But I can't help you, know. As Chief Warder, you were responsible for overseeing the execution of all, eh? Well, it seems the fellas at Scotland Yard want to have a wee few words with you about it. You'd better pack your things, laddie. You're to attend in person. As soon as he told me that, my mind just went completely blank. And the next thing I knew, The professor, the most hated killer in our country's history. And I let him escape and finished my life. Is over. He jumped out the window? Ah! So did he do it, or was he falsely accused, is my question. Order! Order! Bailiff, fetch a doctor at once! Court is adjourned for today with immediate effect. Like, what the hell?
So, with Mr. Vigil's collapse, proceedings came to an abrupt end for the day. Once again overshadowed by the legacy of that notorious killer, appearing like a cursed ghost ship on a foggy ocean. Lord Van Zeeks, Mr. Vigil, Kazuma, and Gregson. All of them bound by invisible chains anchored to the same wreckage in the murky depths of the past. But the miraculous light that had been trying to cut through the gloom and shine on those tragic events.
Quick aside, why is he never this poetic when we actually play him?
Was playing on the edges of the truth at last.
To be continued. Yep. What the balls? People block out memories. That's like a total... That's a thing. That's a thing. Oh, we're doing an investigation. Alright. Twisted Karma and his life. What if... There's the question, like, what if the professor was innocent? And he was trying to escape? Or is the professor just evil and he found a way to escape? I don't know. Let's go a couple more minutes. Let's set up some more. 2nd of November, 3:38 p.m. Sholmes' suite. I still can't quite believe what just happened. I know. I inquired with the bailiff after the court session was adjourned. And it seems Mr. Vigil was taken to hospital to recover. Right. 10 years ago now. Mr. Vigil attempted to commit suicide by jumping out of the window of the prison governor's office. But ever since then, he's completely blocked the memory from those events from his mind. Nobody knew his secret. Not his family, not even the man himself, but I forced it out into the open. Was it wrong of me to do that? Did I overstep the mark, I wonder? No. The answer's no. 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 The truth is kind of important to figure out here. Well, no. Oh, Iris. You were miles away, and we have brewed a fresh pot of soothing tea for you. Oh, thank you. You and Susie have had an exhausting day so far, haven't you? Oh. Thank you, Iris. How thoughtful of you. Do you happen to know where... Oh, I got it wrong, but... Do you happen to know where Mr. Sholmes is? When we came out of the courtroom back in the defendant's antechamber, he disappeared. Oh, no, I don't know. He just suddenly sprang to his feet and left. All he said was, I must leave. I wonder if he's pursuing the mystery of Inspector Gregson's death. Well, you know what Ho is always saying, don't you? There are mysteries in this world that should perhaps never be solved. But the construction of a solution comes only at the expense of destruction of something else. Feel like this is a poignant time to mention that? What does that mean? What do you think it means? Mr. Poetic Talk at times, what do you think it means? He knows very well that when you open someone else's old wounds, you often open your own too. But he just can't take his own advice and leave well alone. Solving mysteries is too important to him. Okay, now that part, yeah, like, Naruto doesn't have any old memories to be worried about. That's so true. I guess, I don't know. Well, that's what I like about Hoey after all. I suppose that's the lot of a great detective in some ways. let's have some tea, and then I'll give you a hand. Oh, do you have time, Iris? Yes, I finished this month's manuscript at last. We're barely a day to spare before the deadline. Oh, I'm so looking forward to it. A brand new story to read in the adventures of Mr. Herlock Sholmes. You know, I always had Hurley's violin in the days before I have a deadline. You do? Poor Mr. Sholmes. I'm sure that's very wise, Iris. How sensible of you. Now then, my dear fellows, let's make a plan of action before we continue our investigation. Apparently I started rolling your R's and L's together. Okay, let's see here. Do these now or do these next time? Look at the court record. So this is everything we've got. These are all the people we have. Effing sandwich. Like, freaking sandwich. He got fired because he's like, disappeared, former chief. We haven't updated this. This hasn't been updated either. So Gossip is 40 years old. Seriously, these two. Seriously, what the hell were those two? Yeah, let's just finish this part and then we'll stop. This morning's trial. So, how did it go in court this morning? Well, we still don't know the truth about what really happened, but one thing's increasingly clear. Lord Von Zeeks definitely didn't do it. Oh, goody. Yes, that's right. We managed to uncover several new facts as well. Oh, really? And there was another development too. Kazuma. Yes, it's quite clear now that Kazuma-san was not himself. The way he's acting, it's almost as if he's possessed. I know, I mean, at the end of the proceedings earlier, he was like a bloodhound to the way he was chasing down Mr. Vigil's forgotten past. He's not normally as so mercilessly persistent. Well, prosecutor is different, I guess. What's going on in his head, I wonder? I really need to sit down with Kazuma and try to understand what he's going through. Reaper's innocence. If Gregson was really murdered the day before his body was discovered, then Lord Von Zeeks has to be innocent, you see? Read that again. Okay. What? The day before? Well, that should be easy enough to work out just by examining the corpse, surely? Yes, you would expect so, but curiously, no time of death was included in the autopsy report. That is curious. Wouldn't the blood be a different kind of, like... The blood would be dried if it was a whole day. Well, dried even. There are still unanswered questions about Lord Von Zeeks, though, aren't there? Huh, do you mean... I mean, what was he doing there on Fresno Street that day in the first place? Well, according to the man's testimony, he said he was investigating Inspector Gregson, didn't he? And it turns out that little room was actually the inspector's secret office. Oh, that sounds like it has all the markings of a wonderfully devilish plot. But then why was that notice board in there covered in all those particular papers? Papers about cases with a link to the Reaper. I'm starting to get a bad feeling about this. Oh dear, that sounds more like something horribly devilish. We must start by looking into Inspector Gregson's movements of late. Gregson's movements? I never imagined I might have to be investigating the Inspector's movements. Well, according to the entry in this diary, He was carrying out an incognito investigation of the Red-Headed League the day before his death. Oh, you mean he was doing the same as Howie? Well, Mr. Sholmes was trying to apply, whereas the inspector was supposed to be investigating. I do wish it had been the other way around. Anyway, as it turns out, the inspector who went to investigate the Red-Headed League that day wasn't actually Gregson at all. It was Mr. Vigil in possession of Gregson's identification. You know what that sounds like to me? Establishing an alibi. Oh my, yes, you're absolutely right, Iris. So, what if Gregson was the Reaper the entire time? Is that what we're asking here? But why would Gregson need an alibi? It would appear that the inspector had something to do that he wished to keep secret. I don't believe it. I always thought he was just a harmless wild fish and chips. Endless fish and chips. But perhaps they were seasoned with something a little more potent than salt and vinegar. Dude, you did not. I think perhaps we should try to move away from food analogies. Well, anyway, if Lord Von Zeeks felt the need to investigate Gregson... Yes, I agree. We must try to find out what he knows. Mr. Vigil's condition. He did! No. Vigil, you say? Isn't that the name of the lady who came to visit Howie yesterday? That's right. Task Mr. Sholmes if he would help her to find her missing husband. Only Mr. Sholmes completely passed the buck to us. Actually, didn't you say that Mr. Vigil had been taken to the hospital? You know which one? Ah, it's St. Sinner's. I'm starting to wonder if all the other hospitals in London have closed down. No, they don't want to do more art. But that's amazing, Luna. You found the lady's husband already. Well, I suppose I have, by accident. And 10 years ago, while Mr. Vigil was the chief ward at the prison, he was responsible for overseeing the professor's incarceration. No! So when the convict escaped, he was held responsible and immediately dismissed. Oh, sometimes you really don't want to grow up. There's more. For 10 years after that, while he was ostensibly working as a peddler, he also had a secret job. He was paid by Gregson to be a stand-in, to impersonate the inspector. To impersonate Gregsy? But why? I have absolutely no idea. Danny was right. I'm starting to think our adults are up to no good now. Including you, Luna. What did I do? I haven't paid anyone to impersonate me. That means he has ties to the professor and to Inspector Gregson, though. So I do think we ought to pay a visit to Mr. Vigil, don't you? Back to St. Sinner's, then. Well, I think it's clear what we need to do, isn't it? Let us investigate, my dear fellows. Oh, Iris. You're even more enthusiastic than usual today. If anyone has anything to hide, my special Wilson shooting iron will soon set them straight. That water pistol? It's a boomstick now. It's stuffed full of piping hot extra special blend of mine. And I'm quite sure it will be very effective. I'd better be careful not to hide anything. Well, it feels a little strange that Mr. Sholmes is nowhere to be seen, but still. Let's go and see what we can find. Yes. Where? Alright. Converse. Movement. So where are we going to move to next time is the question. We're going to go to the hospital. That's where we're going to go next time. So that'll be it for now. I have fun. Hope you're fun watching. That's what's all about. Isn't it? Having fun. Thanks for coming by and see you next time. How do I save this game again? That's how. Right there. Took me a second. So, Gregson was either looking into the Reaper or he was the Reaper. And it's just keeping track of his own stuff. Because the problem is, we don't know who the heck the Reaper could be. Gregson could be the Reaper. Strongheart could be the Reaper. Von Zieks could actually be the Reaper this whole time, and he has a split personality. Or, not a split personality, he's just responsible the whole time. He's just, I don't know. Many things could be it, but that is it for now. Would Hurley being the Reaper be it? Probably not. That's it for now. I have fun. Hope you have fun watching. That's what's up, Basant. Having fun. Thanks for coming by, and I'll see you next time.